Imagine a world where the boundaries of human potential are no longer defined by nature, but by choice. A world where the weaknesses we've always considered inevitable, disease, aging, limitations of the body and mind, are not only solvable, but eradicable. A world where a simple alteration to your DNA could mean a life free from illness, a sharper mind, even an enhanced appearance. It sounds like the stuff of dreams, the kind of future long promised in science fiction. But today, it's no longer just fiction. We've entered an era where the tools to edit our genetic code are not only real, they're being used. In 2018, the world was shocked. Chinese scientist He Jiankui announced the birth of the first gene-edited babies, twin girls whose DNA was altered, using CRISPR technology to make them immune to HIV. What was once theoretical became a reality, and humanity crossed a line it had never crossed before. The potential was suddenly undeniable. If we can prevent diseases at the genetic level, why stop there? Could we enhance human intelligence, increase our physical strength, or even extend our lifespans? For the first time, the dream of designer humans seems within reach. But with this power comes a profound question. Just because we can does it mean we should? There's no denying the incredible benefits. Diseases that have plagued us for centuries could be eradicated. Suffering could be a thing of the past. Imagine a world where no one is born with a genetic disorder, where cancer, Alzheimer's, and heart disease are distant memories. Yet the allure of perfection raises uncomfortable questions. Once we begin editing our genes to improve health, what's to stop us from enhancing every aspect of what it means to be human? Intelligence, athleticism, physical beauty. What happens when these traits can be selected like items on a menu? It's here that the possibilities begin to blur into something more complicated, even dangerous. If genetic enhancements become a reality, who will have access to them? Will the wealthy be the only ones who can afford to enhance their children, creating an even wider gap between the privileged and the rest of society? Could we be heading toward a world where genetic superiority is the new currency of power, and those born without enhancements are left behind? And as we strive for perfection, are we risking the very essence of what makes us human? These are the questions we must confront, not in some distant future, but now. The technology exists. The choices are ours to make. But with each advancement comes a new layer of uncertainty. For every life saved, there's a potential consequence we can't yet foresee. How far are we willing to go in the pursuit of perfection? And once we open the door to genetic enhancement, can we ever truly close it again? For centuries, humanity has been at the mercy of biology. Our genes determine everything: our health, our intelligence, our physical abilities. We inherit strengths and weaknesses, advantages and vulnerabilities, all written in the complex language of DNA. But what if we could rewrite that language? What if we no longer had to accept the limits imposed by nature? That future is closer than we think. Gene editing technologies like CRISPR have already demonstrated their power to correct genetic disorders. Scientists have used it to eliminate sickle cell disease, restore vision to the blind, and even slow down the aging process in lab animals. These are not theoretical possibilities. They are real, tangible breakthroughs. If we can edit genes to prevent suffering, why wouldn't we? But the implications go far beyond medicine. The same technology that can cure a disease can also enhance a trait. Imagine a child born with perfect memory, superior intelligence, or exceptional athletic ability, not by chance, but by design. Parents might soon have the option to select their child's genetic blueprint, ensuring they have the best possible start in life. Would this be an act of love, a way to secure their future? Or would it be the first step toward a world where natural-born humans are considered obsolete? The pursuit of perfection has always been a human obsession. Throughout history, we have sought to improve ourselves through education, training, and technology. But for the first time, improvement is no longer limited by effort. It can be built into our very biology. Supporters argue that genetic enhancements could unlock untapped human potential, creating a society where disease, weakness, and inequality are relics of the past. Yet, this vision raises an uncomfortable question. If we start enhancing intelligence, strength, and beauty, where do we draw the line between progress and playing God? And then, there's the issue of access. Will these enhancements be available to everyone, or only to those who can afford them? Will the gap between rich and poor evolve into something far more insurmountable, a genetic divide? And if the ability to enhance is left unchecked, what happens to the very definition of humanity? For now, the possibilities remain just that, possibilities. But with every breakthrough, the line between science fiction and reality grows thinner. We stand on the brink of a transformation unlike anything in history. The question is no longer whether we can enhance ourselves, but whether we should. And if we do, are we truly evolving, or are we creating something entirely new? The idea of enhancing humanity through genetic modification is no longer a distant concept. It is an imminent reality. With each breakthrough, we inch closer to a world where genetic traits are no longer left to chance, but to choice. Yet, with such power comes a haunting question. What happens when enhancement is no longer an option, but an expectation? Throughout history, advancements in technology have often widened societal gaps before they closed them. The internet, once heralded as a tool for universal knowledge, quickly became a battleground for misinformation and digital divides. Artificial intelligence, designed to assist, now threatens millions of jobs. Could genetic enhancements follow the same trajectory, promising a better world, yet creating deeper inequalities? If intelligence, physical prowess, and longevity can be engineered, will those who remain unmodified be seen as lesser? Will the natural-born become a lower class in a society dominated by the genetically optimized? The ethical dilemmas spiral even further. If enhancements become widespread, could governments impose regulations, or worse, mandates? Would a nation with superior engineered citizens hold an undeniable advantage over others, forcing countries into a new kind of genetic arms race? And if history has taught us anything, it is that the pursuit of human perfection has often led to devastating consequences. The eugenics movements of the past, once cloaked in scientific rhetoric, resulted in some of the darkest chapters in history. Could modern genetic enhancement, even with the best intentions, risk repeating those mistakes? But beyond ethics and inequality lies a deeper, more existential question. If we redesign humanity, are we still human? Our imperfections have shaped our history, our art, our philosophies. Struggle has defined innovation, and limitation has driven creativity. If we remove suffering, failure, and imperfection from the human experience, do we lose something fundamental? Do we risk stripping away the very essence of what makes us who we are? The allure of enhancement is undeniable. The ability to eradicate disease, extend life, and unlock untapped potential is a temptation unlike any other. But as we stand on the threshold of this genetic revolution, we must ask ourselves, what kind of future are we creating? And more importantly, once we begin altering the very fabric of humanity, will we ever be able to stop? The path to genetic enhancement is not just a scientific revolution, it is a transformation of human identity itself. As the technology advances, it forces us to confront a paradox. Are we creating a future of limitless potential, or one of unforeseen consequences? Consider a world where genetic enhancements become standard. At first, they may seem like a luxury, a privilege of the wealthy. But over time, they could become a necessity, an unspoken requirement for success. Imagine a child born without enhancements in a world where intelligence, memory, and physical abilities are all optimized. Will they be able to compete, or will they be left behind in a society that no longer values the naturally human? The implications stretch even further. If we have the power to enhance intelligence, creativity, and even morality, could we engineer a better version of ourselves? A society free from violence, selfishness, and greed? It is an appealing vision, one where science eliminates the flaws that have plagued us for centuries. But what if those very flaws are the reason we grow, adapt, and evolve? If we remove suffering, do we also remove resilience? If we eliminate imperfection, do we erase the very traits that make us human? And then, there is the question of control. Who decides what is considered an enhancement, and what is considered a defect? Will governments regulate the use of genetic modification, or will corporations dictate the standards of human perfection? History has shown that the pursuit of an ideal human form is often shaped by cultural biases and shifting values. What seems like an improvement today may be viewed as an error tomorrow. Could genetic enhancements, meant to liberate us, instead become a new form of conformity? The reality is that this future is no longer theoretical. The technology exists. The experiments are happening. The ethical lines are already blurring. We stand on the edge of a transformation unlike any before, one that could redefine not only our bodies, but our very sense of self. The question is no longer whether we can enhance humanity, but whether we will recognize ourselves once we do. The future of genetic enhancement is not a question of if, but when. With each passing year, the boundaries of what we once believed to be impossible continue to dissolve. The ability to reshape our biology is no longer the domain of science fiction. It is a tangible reality, unfolding before our eyes. But as we move forward, we must ask ourselves, are we prepared for the world we are about to create? Some see this as the dawn of a golden age, an era where disease is eradicated, intelligence is limitless, and human potential knows no bounds. For them, genetic enhancement is not a threat, but an evolution, a natural next step in humanity's relentless pursuit of progress. But history has shown that great power often comes with unintended consequences, and when the very essence of life is in our hands, can we trust ourselves to wield it wisely? Perhaps the greatest danger is not in the technology itself, but in our assumptions about control. Scientific progress is rarely linear. Innovations often outpace regulation, and the rush to be first can blind us to the long-term effects. Will enhancement remain a choice, or will it become a necessity for survival? In an increasingly optimized world, and if we can design intelligence, physical ability, and even personality, how long before we begin shaping not just individuals, but entire generations? For centuries, humanity has defined itself by overcoming obstacles, by adapting to challenges, by finding meaning in imperfection. But in a world where those challenges are engineered away, what happens to the human spirit? Do we lose something vital in our pursuit of perfection? Or is this the beginning of something greater, an opportunity to transcend our limitations and create a future beyond anything we've ever imagined? We are standing at the threshold. The choices we make today will shape the world for generations to come. And so the final question is not just about science, ethics, or progress. It is about identity. When the dust settles and the future arrives, will we still recognize ourselves, or will the pursuit of perfection lead us somewhere we never intended to go? This video has come to an end, but the discovery continues. Check out more content on the channel and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Thank you for watching.